Okay, we've just missed the lag. Bill won the lag. This is the VP4 US Open 2016, and this is a one-loss side. And we've got Mr. Bill from the United States playing BillyBigRigger, who's from Canada, I believe. I do believe he's corrected me on that before. Yes, it is. And it's a race to 15. Now, we'll have a quick look at the bracket, and we can see that this is a match here that we're looking at. Now, these guys are guaranteed money at the moment anyway, or virtual dollars. But this being the one-loss side, they're playing to get into the semi-final, I think it is, on the one-loss side. To try and make it back across. They have to, obviously, one of these guys has to win this side of the bracket to be able to get to the final. And there's still some good players left in this tournament, so they're going to have their work cut out. So BillyBigRigger has won the first rack. Now the difficulty here is getting onto the two, but he can do it coming across twice. He's been in a dangerous line to that middle pocket though. Well, he's hit that far too hard. The two's gone in though. Now, I don't know whether he can see enough of that to pot the three. He can't. The question is what he does as a safety. If he tucks that 3 up with the 5 and the 7, well, he's knocked a 6 in. But again, never guaranteed to get position in a 3. And now he can use the 4 as a stopper if he wants. Run off the edge of the 3 and back up to that left hand corner where he is at the moment. He might try the bank though. And it's gone in. And the 5 passes a 7. So just needs to get up the table. Again, off this 5, must leave the right angle in the 7. Now, I don't know whether he can pot the 5 without nudging the 7. He's managed to draw off it, but he's got... Well, he can steal an angle there. He can force the angle to get down for the 5. Well, he decided to draw back. He could have actually just forced a little spin. Went down the left side. So BillyBigRigger off to a good start. Leads by 2 racks to 0. And in goes the 6. Again, he's got no real shot in the 1, although he's got a choice. He can try and tuck the cue ball up or tuck the 1 ball up. If he leaves that 1 on the open in the left hand side, and no doubt that Bill would just jump across, but that's a weak one. The only good thing about that shot is he's tied the 5 and the 8 ball up, so Bill's going to have his work cut out to try and run this rack. But again, well, that was a bad one as well from Bill. Well, they're taking time to warm up. But whoever gets onto that 4 ball, provided they can get the cue ball either on this bottom rail here or above the 4 ball, they'll have an angle to be able to go in and split that 5 and 8. So that should be their line of thinking. and Billy needs to come back off the 2. If he does that, he should have a straight shot more or less than a 3. Now he's going to be hampered here, I think, and that makes it awkward. But really he just needs to drop the 3 in and let the cue ball go to the rail. Well, that's short, and that's the problem. He's got no angle to get into the 5. That was always the crucial shot, being able to get on that 4 in such a way to be able to move the 5 and the 8. So now he's dead straight, and now he's got a problem. And this is where he's got to just, again, kick and hope. That's wide open for Bill, but it's again not a great angle. He might try and play this with inside English to check back up the table. Well, I don't think he needed to, but it looks as if he should have, because he's now not got the best angles in the 7. Going into a blind pocket again. And we've seen this plenty of times before. The 9 ball's well off the top rail as we look, so there's lots of room to get that cue ball in behind there if you overhit it. And again, this is much too high an angle, so again it's puts a bit of pressure on the shot. And it goes. Bill's off the mark. And of course, remember, it's winner breaks as well. That rack looked as if it was going slightly left. So no joy. A tough cut into the left middle. Cue ball's going entirely the wrong direction, but he'd be unlucky if he didn't have a shot in the 2 if he gets this one. Cue ball might be colliding with that 7 ball though. Well, he collided with the 7. Missed the cut. Now, can Mr. Bill see enough of that one? I think he can. Even if he just swerved round the 3 ball a bit, he could make the potting angle. Putting a little bit of left English on it. And if that holds up, it should be okay. Oh dear, again we've seen that in the last match. The match with Dizzle and Mal. Anytime you leave that cue ball square on a ball like that and you've got to cut it back, it's very deceptive, and especially with these tournament pockets, very easy to overcut it or undercut. Not a great margin of error, so the mistake's been made, and more importantly for BillyBigRigger, he needs to capitalise on that. Of course, maybe didn't expect to get back to the table. And that needs to bounce. Now the natural shot's just to go down and leave the 6 into the right middle without doing anything spectacular with the cue ball. And he should be on the 7 after that then. And if he just stops the cue ball where the 6 is, he's going to have a nice angle on the 7 and be able to track the cue ball back up here for the 8. Now he should be home and dry in this rack. There's no reason why he shouldn't. looks a straightforward run out. Oh dear, what are you doing? No sooner have I opened my mouth, commentators curse. That was a really poor shot. I don't know whether he was playing that with English or not. He didn't need it really. Just needed to get it up the table. Anywhere in the bottom half of the table here, he would have had a cut in that 8 ball. So that's a gift for Mr. Bill. And these mistakes, especially a mistake like that there when you could have been up 3-1, BillyBigRigger might live to regret that one. Instead of being 3-1 up, we're now all square, back at 2 racks all. Mr. Bill gets a ball in the top right. Look at the way these balls are spread. The only problem again is he's not sitting pretty in the 1 ball. And that was again well offline, and no sooner has 1 rack been stolen and BillyBigRigger's got a second chance in rack number 5, and once again the balls are all sitting wide open. It's just manoeuvring the ball that's needed here. And when you get a situation like this where the balls are sitting in the open, the first thing I do, and I presume most players would do, is look at the table. And I mean, I always look at where I'm going to leave the cue ball for the next shot. It sounds a simple thing and an obvious thing, but you really need to get that into your head, because if you're not focused, then the cue ball starts to run away, and no sooner have you had a gift, but you've thrown it away. So you've just got to really keep thinking about what you're doing. Now here's an instance here where things can go wrong. And that 5 ball got nudged in a previous shot, so now it's not sitting great, although it goes obviously between the 6 and the 9. So you've got to think about where to put the cue ball to get onto that 5. So you're around the angles. And again, he's got a nice angle on the 5. Can stun the 5 in, bring the cue ball back out, or he can try and hit it soft. Now that cue ball ran away a lot further than it should. But again, a soft roll cue ball just probably missed the 9 ball. But he doesn't want to stick the cue ball right on the rail. Oh dear, what's happened here, Billy? Disaster. And that's 2 golden opportunities there for BillyBigRigger, and he's messed both of them. The second one was the worst of all, and he'll be sitting there kicking himself. Needs to get himself settled down. Could be sitting 4-1 up right now. And before you know it, he's sitting looking at a score where he's 3-2 down. And that rack's going to the left as well. You can see it's tilted as you look. Oh, here we go. 3 racks in a row. This table again. Look at them, the balls are just sitting there. Sitting perfect for a run out. And this is where you've got to raise your game. If you found yourself on the 1-loss side, there's probably a few reasons why you've ended up there. And certainly in Billy's, one of the matches I watched, I don't know what the hell he's doing here. What's going on, Bill? It's as if he's been distracted. I do not know what he tried to do with that cue ball. But he doesn't seem to be on the ball here. Yeah, with it, when you find players in the one loss side, what I would say is, if you're looking for a weakness, and this is probably my weakness, is consistency and being able to run the racks a lot more often than you don't. And there's been, I mean, there's instances there where Billy's failed on 3 occasions. And you look at the likes of the guys that are in the winner's side, and they're far more consistent. And that's the difference between winning and losing when you get to this end of the tournament. So Mr. Bill keeping it simple. Now he can only go forward or back off this 7 ball, and of course if he comes back the way, he's going to be going close to the 8, so he might want to try and do something here to get away from it. Now that was a risk, and he's got away with it, but that could have went so wrong. And it has. Again, he left himself the cutback, but he's not left it easy. That's looks pretty tight on the rail. Yeah, well, there's a couple of millimeters off it, but again, the angle is there to cut this in and drop down on that 9. Now he might go with the short side of the 9. He needs to watch he doesn't scratch. And that's a better shot. So BillyBigRigger finally manages to sink the 9 ball, and he's got it tied back up at 3-all. He also comes up dry. Bill's not really been left anything. The bank isn't on because the 1 won't go past the 6. So he's just tucking that cue ball away. I think that's a good save. Although BillyBigRigger can see an edge in the 1, but might just want to try and tuck that 1 and bring the cue ball back to a similar position if he can. Well, he hit that going towards it, and he hit it coming back, and now he's going to find himself in trouble, I would think. Well, this is an easy enough kick, but he's digging the jump cue out. Again, at this close distance, always a risk this cue ball's going to bounce off the table here. He's left an open 1. And Mr. Bill will just roll the 2 in, but he needs to, well, decided he couldn't roll it in, had to go back across the table, and he actually played perfect in the 3, but he's forgot about the 2. And that looks okay. Now the question is whether he can avoid that 8 ball. If he avoids it, he'll be on the 4. Well, he's drew in between it, and that's a good shot. The next good shot would be if he could get out and hold on that 5. Well, this isn't easy. Again, it's going into a pocket that he's not necessarily looking directly at, so he's got to judge the angle. This is tough. Again, he's well off the mark. Now, I just joined the game lobby and saw that this match was ready to go, so I don't know whether the two players actually had any chance to warm up, but the one thing I can say is it looks like Mr. Bill had more of a chance than BillyBigRigger has so far. Just hasn't settled down yet. So it's another one that's got away, and I'm sure I saw one of BillyBigRigger's matches earlier, and he had a lot of racks where he was in and just could not run out. Mr. Bill gets the 4 ball in, no shot in the 1. And remember, when a player pushes out, he can only push out after the break. And if the incoming player doesn't like the position, he can push it back and let the original player take the shot. So Billy's going all out there for the bank, but once again he's left himself with a problem. I think that's almost a full snooker. Well, I think he can see a tiny bit of that too. Well, maybe not. So now, ball in hand to Mr. Bill. Again, at this level of the tournament, it's no point in thinking that you're going to achieve a result by waiting on your opponent making mistakes, because right now Billy's the one with the problem. Just doesn't, from the way he's playing, it just doesn't look as if he's settled. And Mr. Bill's more than good enough to take the pickings that are there. Again, he's got to get this cue ball the south side of the 7 as we look towards us, which he's done, and now he can draw off the 7 if he wants. Just take the 8 into the top right. Well, again, that's taking a risk, and he's got away with it, although he's queuing over the 9, I think. But you certainly didn't want to collide with that 8 ball. And again, that's a wee bit short, although cue balls run a bit more. Should get this no problem. So Mr. Bill has opened up a 5-3 gap, and he's not really had to do an awful lot of work to get there. The scoreline could have been oh so different at this stage. So the 9 sitting up there very close to that top right hand corner. Now, well, Well, the 3 ball goes past to 5, and you could actually play a combo off the rail onto the 9, but that's asking a lot. And it could be, again, this is where you've got to make a decision. The 9 looks close to the pocket, but you've got to make the decision that you're going to run out, and this is a crucial one, and this will tell whether BillyBigRigger's confident enough to try and run out. Well, he's decided he's going to go for the combo, so this is all or nothing. And in it goes. He gets one back, and that looks a pretty straight rack this time. And then goes the 8. He's got a nasty little cut back in the 1. Now, how does that look from that angle? Well, cue ball's going anywhere here. It goes past the 9. Again, the cue ball's going to be running into trouble unless he tries to manufacture something here. So the only thing he'd left was the bank for the 3 onto the 7, but he's missed the 2. But Mr. Bill's got the same problem. And that's a good pace. Should be able to drop the 3 into the middle. Now he either tries to leave the 3 short behind the 5 or bring the cue ball back out. So again, make this decision. He's left it short, so he's now playing a cutback. This cue ball might even run into that 9 and he could be in trouble. He's digging down, drawing away from it, and now he's back to square one. And you just simply cannot keep trying to cut these shots in all the time. And that's why he's overcut it by quite a margin. So Billy plays the bank onto the 7, and he's got a bit of fortune. He has a shot in the 5, and again with this shot he can run up the table, take the 6 into the right middle, which would be the simple shot because the cue ball's going to run up that way anyway. And that looks good. Can drop the 6 in. Yeah, it was a lot tougher looking when you got behind it, and again it's another one that's going to get away, I'm afraid. And Mr. Bill opens up the 2-rack gap again, and another straight rack for the break. 4 ball goes into top left. And again he's got a choice. He can play the bank on the 1, or he can play the safety. Again as well, I mean, one thing I've noticed, I mean, these two guys are playing with aggression all the time. I mean, 9-ball isn't an attacking game, but I still go by the theory that you should always look for a good safety sometimes, and I don't think either of them's looked for a good safety. They're just going all out to try and pop balls all the time, even when the odds are against them. There's a great big gap to get into for that 6-ball. That needs to slow down. Oh dear, what's going on? Well, he's made it. He's just made it. Again, a choice. Go all around the corner and back out. And that's good pace. Now there's a problem, because again the angle on the 8-ball to cut it is taking the cue ball towards the 9, and that's where he's tried to do something with the cue ball and it's all gone wrong. And this is why positional play is the route to success in any game of billiards or pool. The players that have got the better positional play are the ones that will achieve the most success time after time. And if you fall short, you generally fall short in the next shot, and sooner or later it falls apart. And Mr. Bill stretches the lead to 3 racks. He now leads by 7 racks to 4. Comes up dry. But once again, not an easy opening shot for BillyBigRigger. And this time he's successful. Gets the 1, gets on the 2. But still got a lot of work to do in this early part of the rack. And now he's out of position. So now the shot to play would be a good safe. Well, that was a brave shot, but it was successful that time, but he's now got to follow it through, and the problem ball's the 7. If he gets that far, he's nudged into the 7, he's split it open, and so there's even more reason that he's got to run out here. He's done the hard work. So here's the crucial one. Got to get on this 8-ball and got to leave an angle. And this is where you take your medicine. Leave yourself the long 9. Get the cue ball into the middle of the table. It needs to keep spinning. And that'll do it. Got a fairly straight 9. And that was well done. A roundabout way of getting there, but he done it, and He gets another rack in the board now. What he needs right now is a break and run. And then he can probably feel this in the match. And nothing's gone for him. And look at the 1 and look at the 9. And that 9's just begging to be knocked in. Well, that's the run of the ball for you. And very quickly, Mr. Bill has regained his 3-rack lead. And this time the 6 is gone. But once again, he's got a... Well, he had a bank on there, and the one thing I would have thought was the fact that the cue ball was coming back to give him a shot in the 2. I'm surprised he didn't go for it. Again, you've got to think that the way the balls are sitting, whoever gets in first here's got to be looking at the run out. And here's a chance. Again, it's not an easy chance because cue ball's going to be going entirely the wrong direction to go in this 2. Well, he'll be happy with that. He's left nothing on. Again, this isn't easy to get safe because Bill can only see half of the 1 ball, so he might just try kicking in behind it. And Billy's left with a similar shot again. He's got a 1 ball right in the middle of the table, under pressure to try and pull out a shot to get himself in here. And this time again he's overcut it. And now he's left Bill on the 1. 2 and 3 all sitting there. Once the 3's out the way, the 4 will go into the same pocket. And you might need to draw up the rail. Well, he's decided against that. So now it's going to be a straight roll through. Up past that middle pocket for the 5. As long as he doesn't hit the jaw, which was always likely, and he's done it. Again, he's got a problem. And this time he's done the wise thing. And BillyBigRigger here can look at a kick off that closer side rail, I would have thought. And there's always a good chance that he could kick the 5 in. Well, the angle on the 5, the cut's not the problem. The cue ball looks as if it's going to track over past the 7. And he's left it in the underside of the 7. So again, we've got one of these kickbacks. He might play the reverse bank. No, he's got the kickback, but he's scratched. So here's a gift for Billy. I think it'd be safe to say we could mark this on the card. So Mr. Bill is threatening to run away, although neither player has been setting the bays alight here. But BillyBigRigger's still only trailing by 2 racks, and it only needs something to happen. Well, he's got a ball this time, and he's got a shot in the 1, and the cue ball's coming back for the 2. So this might be the chance. Again, he's left. That's a weak shot. That's poor. He'd again a big margin of error, and he's left himself really nothing, and having to try and pull out some welding crazy cut shot in the 2, and it's gone wrong straight away. Well, I'm sure Bill would want to play that one again also. That wasn't a great shot. He's got a thin cut in the 3. Needed to be a lot thinner than that. Let's look at this 3 ball. Well, he's got to look at the bank, I think. Gets it clean, but where's the cue ball ending up? Well, he might have to try and play the same shot, a bank on the 4. It looks a good bank on the 4 into this middle pocket nearest us. Just stop the cue ball. Oh, well, he's got away with it. Got away with it. The 4 ball doesn't pass the 9. Well, if it does, it will go past it, but to play a jump shot and try and cut that 4 in is asking a lot. And that cue ball's close to the 6. There's still a big enough gap to jump though. Well, I think Billy can play this 4 ball. Let's have a wee look at that as well. Well, he's not hampered by the 8, so he should be able to comfortably roll the 4 in. This again is a simple shot. It's a draw, and just needs to draw it to the middle pocket, and he'll have a good angle on the 6. So he's just got to control the pace, and that'll do it. Now again, ideally get the cue ball up past the middle pocket and leave the angle shallower on this 8 so he can hold for the 9. And he's left it short, but I think he can still just tuck this 8 ball in dead weight and still have a shot in the 9. So BillyBigRigger gets it back again, just trailing by the 1 rack as we go into rack number 16. In goes the 7. And once again, no, he's got no shot in the 1. Well, that is a better shot. And now Bill has got the only option on is a kick off that left side rail, so it's an easy kick to hit the 1. And has he got lucky as well? Yes, he has. Let's see if the jump stick can rescue BillyBigRigger here at this distance. Got to go over that 9 ball. And in goes the 1. And he's got a cut in the 2. And he needs to play this at a dead weight pace if he's going to leave the 3 into the left middle. I don't even know whether he can hold it for that. And it's running too fast and he's going to hook himself. And I don't think he's going to be able to jump this. And once again, the old kick and hope needed here. Just kick, hit the ball, and just hope it goes safe. Well, he'll be happy with that as well. But he might find himself in trouble in a minute, because I don't know whether can Bill actually see past that 9 at all. Well, that's a much better shot than. I think the last 3 or 4 shots the players came to the table, they've not been able to see the object ball. Now with this type of jump being so close, there's going to be no pace in the cue ball because it's going up and down and just dropping onto the table. And that was a good shot. He's got the 3. And again, if he just takes his time and looks at the balls, you can see how simple it is to get out. And now a roll in the 5. Cut that 6 into the top left, cue ball over to the right hand side. And ideally, if he left himself dead straight in the 8, he'd be able to just draw back for the 9. So he doesn't want to overhit this. But at the same time, well, I presume he played for it. That was dangerous to play the long 8 into this bottom left, because the obvious thing is he could have hooked himself with the 9. You always want to take these problem balls out of the equation. Well, the little kiss in the 9 has held it up, and just a roll in. Well, I don't know how, but BillyBigRigger has now got himself back into the match. We're all square again at 8 racks all. Something's gone in, but the cue ball's going to be next to go. It's kicked in by the 6, and that's unlucky. And BillyBigRigger just cannot get anything running in his favour here with these sort of shots. One of the previous racks, similar things happen. The ball just goes wrong. Now, the 5 goes past the 8, so it's only going into that 1 pocket. He's going to have to play the 4-6 combo. That's more than obvious. And then it's going to be a good positional shot to get on this 5, provided he doesn't let that 4 ball run away. Well, he's got an angle on this 4. He can stun in, a firm stun, and get the cue ball across to the left. That's okay. And the question is whether he can nudge into the 9 here off this 5. But he would need to dig down in the cue ball to do that, which he's doing. Well, he's nudged the 9. And that's not an easy shot into the middle, that 8 ball. But he gets it. And this all came about. Billy got a ball in a break. The 6 ball run round the table. cue ball went near the bottom right hand corner, and the 6 ball nudges the cue ball in. And Mr. Bill is back in front by 9 racks to 8. Comes up dry, leaves a shot for BillyBigRigger. Now again, well, you'd look to run out, but look at the 6 and the 7 ball. That's the problem. And already you should be thinking ahead about how and what to try and do to get this 6 ball freed up from the 7. And now we're in trouble. I don't think that was a case of trying to move those balls. I just think it was unavoidable. So now he's got no shot in the 3. And again, it's just going to be a kick, and he needs to watch that he doesn't kick in off the 3 ball, because that's very likely to happen. Cue ball can go into that bottom left hand corner, so he needs to hit this pretty full. Well, he's missed it altogether. And I think he tried to play the cut in, kick off the rail, catch the edge of the 3 and cut that into the pocket. But Mr. Bill's got the wrong angle in the 5. But he's played a good shot. Now he can just cut this 6 ball in, bring the cue ball back up to the left and take the 7 past the 9 into the same pocket. He's overcut it, but he's got away with it. Played it perfect position for the 7, but once again BillyBigRigger has just got a kick shot. And again, just got to hope he gets a run of the ball. There's an easy safety on here for Mr. Bill. Is he looking to bank this 6 ball into the bottom right? He certainly is. But he's going to have to do the same thing with the 7 ball. And it goes, and he's got a cut in the 8. And he's sitting nice in the 9. So no sooner has BillyBigRigger got himself back on level terms, but it's now Bill that gets to double figures, leading by 10 racks to 8. And don't forget though, Bill's only 5 racks away from victory and from marching on and continuing in this year's VP4 US Open. Billy doesn't have the time here to mess around. He's simply got to do his best to get back into it again, but doesn't want to get over ambitious. You can't get too aggressive. You can't leave yourself tough shots to pull them off all the time. I don't care who you are, you're just simply not going to sink them all the time. But to be at this level in a tournament, you've got to be critical when the balls are lying in the open and all you have to do is get on them. And you do that simply by manoeuvring the cue ball. Played the bank. Simple enough 4. Can just roll it in if he wants. He can stun it in and still come across for the 5. Well, the shot here, the shot here is firm cut in the 5, cue ball off that rail, back across by the 9 and back out into the table again. That would be the shot. He's run the cue ball around and he's left himself in no man's land again. And this is where problems begin. To me, the shot there was just bring the cue ball back across in the same line rather than trying to manoeuvre it. But he's got the 6, he's got on the 7, he's nudged it out, so he's got a little break there. And the simple 9 reduces the deficit again just to the 1 rack. I don't think, have we again I can't recall seeing a break and run. The balls just haven't been running good. But then again, anytime a player's broke and a ball's gone down and they've had a shot, they've not been consistent enough to keep any momentum going. So the 2 ball's gone. He has a shot in the 1. Now does he get aggressive with this shot? Well, he's managed to find a gap. That needs to slow down. And now he's again... Well, what's he going to have to do to get a shot here? He's hooked himself and left a jump. Now can this cue ball slow down and hold for the 4 if he gets the 3? Well, he has. He'll be happy with that one. And this 5, let's have a look at it that way. Well, that's dead straight. And he's tried to stun it and he's stunned it offline. You just cannot, you can only cheat these pockets within a very, very small margin. But when you hit them at pace, now Bill's caught the bug as well. Now, BillyBigRigger's got to put this rack away. There's no way he should have been back at the table there. If ever you want to emphasise the importance of this rack, it's right now. The 9 ball's on the bottom rail here, but with the 8 ball being fairly adjacent to it, it should be easy enough to get onto the 9. So this is a crucial shot, getting good position on the 7. Now you can do that by coming down the right hand side here. You can go left, so this is him putting inside English on it now. And this isn't going to guarantee him perfect position. How does that look? Well, that's a nice angle, and doesn't want to do an awful lot of English with this cue ball. Just get it up into the middle of the table, and that's perfect because he can cut this 8 cue ball, nice pace, and have a shot in the 9 into the same pocket. That'll do. So now we're heading towards the business end of this match. And once again, BillyBigRigger's tied up the match up at 10 racks all. With the break. But no change in fortune. He's come up dry and he's left Mr. Bill a shot in the 1. And Mr. Bill looking at the 2 ball. Now what's the angle like? Well, he can roll the 1 in and roll through and leave the 2 into that top left as we look. And he's actually left that a wee bit short. So now again he's having to cut it across. And again, that's why he's missed it. But look at the shot he's left BillyBigRigger. Absolutely nothing. And that run of the ball is painful. Well, that's a good effort. Unfortunately, to leave it open. Got the ball, got a rail, but got no luck. But again, this first shot here is a little bit awkward. He might just want to leave the cut back in the 3 while he's decided to run through. And that's a better position. So the important shot in this rack is going to be getting onto that 6 and getting back up for the 7. Well, does he want to risk him down close to that 9 ball? And he's avoided the 9. And he's also got a nice little angle in the 6. Let's have a look at the 6 and adjacent to the rail. It's about, oh, there's a few millimetres to play with, so. Well, it looks as if Mr. Bill's going to thwart BillyBigRigger's attempts here to try and get into the lead at the latter stage of the match. So he defends his position and goes back into a 1 rack lead. Just 4 away, leading by 11 racks to 10. And again, Mr. Bill's come up dry. Now, maybe that's a good guide, that. I don't know whether he'd need to jump that. Let's have a look close. Well, maybe he does. I think you could actually miss that too and still cut the 1 in. But my eyes aren't to be relied upon. Well, that's a better shot. He's actually got a little bit of stop in the cue ball there. Now, dare I open my mouth and say it? Absolutely no excuse not to run this table. Look at the table, look at the balls. Plenty of room. It's a join the dots situation here. Now, the only thing that could go wrong here is stopping the cue ball for the long 4 and then playing the shot too soft. So this is much better to overhit it and get the cue ball up by the middle of the table, well past the 6 and the 8 ball. If you're going to try and play for that gap, you're asking for trouble here. Well, that's the right shot to play. And again, he's got an angle so he can still punch the 5 in and get the cue ball up past the 6 on the right hand side. It needs to keep going. Now, I don't know whether he can roll through to the rail. Well, yes, he can. And the worst thing he'll do here is leaving this straight. And he's okay. He's got an angle. Can force it through. But not too hard, because if you force this too hard, you'll just spin into the rail. And that needs to spin a bit more around the angles. Right. So straight through. Well, again, he's played that with inside English to check the cue ball. That's why he's missed the 8. And he still had a margin of error to get on that 9 without having to play a lot of English. So again, Billy's chance is gone. Leaving it for Mr. Bill. And that's 3 times now that BillyBigRigger's got it back in level terms, only to sit and watch Mr. Bill get back into the lead. And I think on pretty much all three of the occasions, BillyBigRigger's thrown away his chance each time. So Mr. Bill looking for safety. I don't know what BillyBigRigger can do here. This is awkward. That 5 ball's causing a problem. Well, he managed to avoid the 5. He's left Bill an edge. Unless Bill gets covered with the cue ball here, he doesn't want to nudge the 2 towards the 5. And he's banked it away from it. Well, there's a sliver of a chance here. Again, it's not an easy shot to get this 2 ball in. But you feel he has to go for it. Now, how's his luck? Now, he needs a little kiss here. Well, again, he's in that awkward position. How does that look for a cut? Well, that's going to cut to the jaw. He's going to have to feather this really, really thin if that's ever going to go near that middle pocket. And he's played it well. Again, needs a bit of luck with a kiss. Well, this is one of these ugly square balls where he's got to cut it back. But the cue ball's going to be running across to that right hand side. He's digging down though. Where's his cue ball going? Well, in his effort to avoid the in-off in the middle pocket, he's took it in-off into the top right. And again, it's got away. I have to say that Billy's not had much of a run of the ball. That's one thing that's obvious, but more often than not though, Billy's been the architect in his own downfall in a lot of these racks by either not taking his chances or just running out of shape. Could have been an entirely different scoreline right now. Well, there's a shock. Bill's made the mistake. Well, I know what I'd be doing. I'd just be drawing it and killing the cue ball and leaving this 9 long. Just like that. Should be able to roll this 9 in, no problem. So BillyBigRigger again gets one back unexpectedly, but it doesn't matter at this stage of the match. All that matters is you're still in the game. But again, it's just like a broken record. He breaks off, gets no ball in a break, and what's happened? He's left Bill a shot in the 1. Where's the cue ball going? Well, that's again a poor shot by Bill. Bill knows it. He had to play the kick, looking for luck here. So now it's a chance, and you would think he's got to play the draw here. Big deep draw. He's going to run through here. There's a lot of traffic, so anywhere but avoiding that 9 ball up there. Well, he didn't actually get into that enough. He needed to get into it a lot more. I don't know whether he could though. I don't know whether he amped it. And now he's got to play the safe. He's got to thin cut that along the rail. And maybe play a bit of right English and try and bring the cue ball up towards the 8 and the 7 ball and look for cover. That looks like what he's doing. Well, if he'd avoided that 6, he might have had a chance here. That's unlucky. But he's left it safe. Mr. Bill decides the bank's on, goes for it. Gets it and gets on the 5. Now he's cueing over the 9, and this is straight. So again, he's got to do something with the cue ball, and this is where Billy has a chance, but Bill's played the stopper. And this looks simple enough to get the cue ball over to the left up by the middle pocket again. He's decided to play it soft and leave it in the middle, so he can just run through off the side rail and out if he wants. So Mr. Bill again opens the gap to 2, but time's running out. Bill's sitting here waiting on just the 2 racks. Cue ball scratched. 2 balls going in. BillyBigRigger comes to the table, ball in hand. He's got a 30-second shot clock and a 15-second extension in each rack. Well, 1 extension in each rack, and he needs to be taking his time here. Well, he's overhit that by quite a bit, but he's still got the cut in the 4, but it's not a nice cut. Again, he should be on the 5 though. And now he's pretty straight in that 5. But again, a big area to move the cue ball into. And now he's got a problem. It's a cut back. And not only that, the problem is the 9 ball. Now where's that cue ball going to track after hitting this 6? Very close to the 9, I would have thought. And again, the same problem, the nasty cut back in the 7. Or he can cross bank it if he wants, but he's got to just go for it. And he'd be very unlucky not to be on this 8 ball. And it's always going to be your downfall, having to play those shots. Got perfect on the 8 though. A controlled draw shot. But look where the 9 is. Remember what we said. There's a big area to move behind that 9 ball if you get it wrong. And that looks perfect. Absolutely plumb perfect. So Mr. Bill is sitting on the hill, leading by 14 racks to 11. And just 1 away. And in goes the 6. 8 ball hanging over the top left pocket. A straight shot in the 1. And can probably draw back to the bottom rail out behind the 3 and leave the 2 into this bottom right as we look. Well, he's rolled through for the middle. How does that look? Well, slightly the wrong angle, but he can easily come off the side rail. Back across the left side for the 3. Now if he decides to just run through and leave the long 4, the problem is the angle he has in the 4 when he plays it, because the odds are the cue ball's going to get into the 9. And so let's see if he's avoided that. Now can he get past that 9 ball? Yes, he can. And this looks all but over. He's a bit straight in this 5 though. But he's got the cue ball into position where he can get the cut, no problem. So we know what happens before. We've seen these balls embedded in a pocket like that 8 ball is, and that's always difficult to judge. So we're about to find out. Well, Bill's got a shot in the 9 for the match. And in it goes. And so BillyBigRigger's participation in the tournament ends, I'm afraid. And he goes down by 15 racks to 11 to Mr. Bill. And Mr. Bill lives to fight another day, but whoever Mr. Bill gets to play as his next opponent, it's going to be his toughest match of the tournament, and he knows he'll have to up his game. And we'll be back for one of those matches whenever it happens on the schedule, and we'll see you then.